There, my name is Sinead Hewson, and I'm the founder of Unconventional Innovators. And I am just going to give you some tips on getting ready for the summer, especially if you are somebody who is undergoing a doctorate and is trying to balance work as well as the trying to take time out, maybe to be with family and friends during the summer break. So often what I find is that people are curious about who I am. So my name is Sinead Hewson. I'm the founder of Unconventional Innovators, and I was a mature student. I went back to college in my 40s to complete a PhD without actually having a third degree education. I was a qualified nurse, but I didn't have a degree, and I didn't have a signpost in order to guide me forward in my studies. And I felt that although I got everything done and I had fantastic support from the university I was in, the challenge I had was I didn't have a map and I didn't have a signpost. And the book was created in order to help people a bit like me, who don't have any family or friends who have completed doctorates, but really feel that they have an idea or an innovation that they want to develop. So, what I'm hoping that you will get from today is just this balance between taking time out and the need to switch off, and also the need to get things done as you're completing a doctorate. So, what I noticed over the years is that at the weekends on platforms like FocusMate and other Pomodoro type groups, people who were working full time, or maybe they had multiple responsibilities such as caring, having kids, etc., were on these platforms trying to catch up on their work as well as doing other stuff. And that's important. It's really, weekends and holidays times are great for that. But you also need to be able to take time out as well to recoup your batteries. So this is what I want to just check to recharge and to energize yourself. So this session contains an exercise which helps you identify one or two challenges that you have identified, that you can undertake between now and September, but also in such a way that you can take time out to be with family and friends. So the second part of the exercise looks at what's known as the wheel of life, and it looks at areas in your life where maybe you could look after yourself a little bit better. So we will move on. So I just wanted to talk you through some of the findings from researching the book. So I spoke to people who had completed doctorates, who had dropped out of doctorates, who supervised, and who had been in academia or were working in other areas as well, and trying to complete this innovative creation of new knowledge. It took people between 4 and 7 years to complete the work. And there were times that they loved the work, and there were times when they absolutely hated it. So I thought the book originally was going to be about getting things done, how you manage your finances, and how you prioritize your time. And the results of the interviews came out very differently. It was about four areas. It was about motivation. It was about the importance of being organized, as in understanding exactly what is expected of you. And it was also about understanding where you are in the journey towards a doctorate and how you are progressing and acknowledging that you are progressing. And the fourth part of it was to do with well being. And it was a fundamental part and the most important part that the people I interviewed talked about. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about this because I think it's useful. So when we look at motivation, we look at focusing on the why. Why am I doing this? But also owning the doctorate. You're creating new work, new innovations. So you need to own this process and be very, very clear on what is expected of you. Secondly, when we look at organization, doing something, even a little bit, is better than nothing. So there are days when you will make huge leaps in the way your work is progressing. And there are times then when you will find that even if you get one line of text written for your thesis or your academic paper, that is a major achievement. So what you need to do is two things, is to treat it as a project, invest in resources and structure so that you are able to manage your time and your energy well. So in the book, we have a number of templates which help you work out those things. So, for example, we have a template on technology, which helps you identify, okay, is this piece of technology useful and is it appropriate for me to use in my work? And you can really look at how you manage budgets or resources to see what are the right resources that you need to move forward. But I have it, the first sentence here is well begun is half done. And it's an adaptation of an Irish saying, which basically says, a small start is better than no start at all. And sometimes when you are working on a doctorate, it is like just scratching on the surface of something, and it just takes ages to really feel that you're moving forward. So just acknowledge that a little bit of progress is better than no progress at all. So when we look at progress, progress means that you own the process again, you project manage your work, but also to remember that finished is better than perfect. So sometimes we can write things or create things and we feel that it has to be perfect before we submit it maybe to our supervisors for feedback. But you've got to remember that this is an iterative evolutionary process. So having something that is formed and shows your logic and thinking is helpful, and it can always be edited or adapted at a later stage. So move through the process, learn, and manage your time well. This was the most important part of the feedback that came from the interviews, and that was about well-being. So that's focusing on self rather than worrying about what the academics, inverted commas, think. And also love your doctorate. And on the days that don't feel so good, connect back to the why and actually remember why you were doing this. Some people are doing it they believe that there's a particular issue that they need to flag within the sector. They could be curiosity driven people and really want to go deeper into their expertise in an area. And then others want to change the world. They have these ambitions. So you've got to really look at this balance between connecting to the why as well. And when we talk about focus on self, and this is why we're running this session at the start of the summer break, is to actually say, yes, you could use your time out and maybe you have some vacation days due. You could use that time to catch up on your doctorate. But it's important to also take time out and, have some type of holiday, even if it's a staycation, and switch off and do something that has nothing to do with your doctorate, because you will come back refreshed and looking kind of at your work in a brand new way. And this is the one thing that I want you to highlight and get out of this particular session. So what we're going to do is I'm going to talk you through this exercise, which is in the book on page 78. Oh, and the good news is that there will be downloadable templates available on the Routledge website very soon, so please keep an eye out for that. But this exercise can really help you work out about what are your challenges between now and when you need to kind of come back maybe in September if you're working within maybe the European or US academic system. So this exercise takes about 45 minutes to an hour to complete. So what you're going to do is you're going to lock yourself away in a room. So it could be at home, it could be in a library, it could be in a beautiful cafe somewhere. And what you're going to do is brainstorm and write down all of the challenges you have on a blank page, post-its, or a whiteboard, and include everything that springs to mind. So that could be relating to you, to family, to work, to resources, and so on. Okay. Then what you're going to do is cluster and have a look at these lists of challenges and cluster them into themes or packages. Okay, so it might be that there is not enough time. It could be that if you have a young family or you have caring responsibilities, maybe you need someone to cover for you to allow you to concentrate on your work, and maybe organize a babysitter or get a favor from somebody to look out for your, say, older parent and so on. And also notice as to whether there are similar themes or patterns that are appearing, okay? And see which one dominates, okay? And then what you're going to do is describe the challenge in one sentence. So you're going to describe it and kind of say, okay, this challenge deals with deadlines, and this is the challenge I have here. This challenge deals with my well-being, and this is what the challenge might be. This challenge relates to the feedback that I need to get in the university, and this is this is kind of what I need to do. And what you're going to do then is you're going to grab yourself a cup of tea or coffee or a glass of water, and you're going to reflect and say, okay, which one of these is my number one challenge? Okay. And what you're going to do is say, okay, what can I do between now and September or over the next 6 to 8 weeks that will allow me address that challenge and allow me to take time out? Okay. So have a look at that and see how that works for you. And in this exercise in the book, in every single exercise, you're asked to document what are the three most insights that I gained from this task, and how will these insights help me complete my doctorate? Okay. And then the final part of it is what are the three actions that I need to take? Why am I doing them, and when will I do them? Okay. And then you also have a summary sheet here. So this is useful to take time out. Again, takes an hour, sometimes 2 hours to do. And it's really useful to reflect on this because sometimes we're further on in things than we realize. Or maybe we need to do filing and get ourselves a bit more organized. So just see what would come up that would help you move forward. So the second part of the exercise is a task which sometimes can take 10 minutes, sometimes it takes a bit longer. And what you're going to do, this is the Wheel of Life, which is from Motivation International, based in the States. It's from around 1967, and they gave permission to use this in the book. And it's a very basic tool, and it's an accessible tool. And this is why we have this rather than something that might be more complicated. But what you're going to do is you see in the center of the diagram, that's zero. So that's where things maybe aren't going the way that I would like them to be. And then as you go towards the outer part, that reaches out to number 10. And a score of 10 means everything's perfect, don't need to do anything about it. Now, most of us fall between 1 and 10 within this area. And what you're going to do is, using the list provided, you mark on a scale of 10 where 0 is the lowest and 10 is the highest score. And you ask yourself, what mark would I give myself in this area of my life? And you write down the first number that comes to mind. Okay? The first number. So don't overthink this. It's like a photograph, it's a snap, and that's it. So you do that for each of these sections. And then what you do is you look at which sections have the highest and lowest scores. And also you mark on the diagram an X, say, let's say it's about health and well-being, maybe it's a 6, maybe money is a 7, maybe career is a 2. You mark it on the diagram and then you join the dots, okay? And this is something where you notice the shape and you think about which area do I need to work on, okay? So you can have you might have a wonderful personal, friends and spiritual life, but maybe money isn't going the way you would like it to be, or maybe the physical environment where you're completing your PhD isn't quite right. And what could you do differently? Could you work from a local library when you need to write or think very deeply? What would a good solution be? So these are things that will help you kind of highlight the priorities that you need to work on. And that's basically it. You think about this, you notice what's there, and there's no right or wrong on this. Okay, so please don't criticize yourself for having maybe a low score in something. It's being aware of it and deciding, how do I move this forward, and what can I do to change this over time? Okay, over time. Bear that in mind. A doctorate is a transformational project, both professionally, academically, and personally. And it takes time, and you've got to be kind to yourself. So, as we move forward, I would love if you joined our community, where we are known as Unconventional Innovators, and we're a community of misfits who don't quite fit within the doctoral system, the innovation system, or the academic system. Okay, so you can like us here. And our purpose is to address the low participation rates of underrepresented groups in the innovation ecosystem. So at the moment, we're focused on the doctoral talent pool. I wrote the book, The Mature Student's Guide to Completing a Doctorate, which was published by Routledge. And that was really to tackle and highlight the low completion rates that are there amongst underrepresented candidates. In some communities, it's as high as 50%. So it's important to see how this can be addressed in the future. This is our approach. We focus on innovation and research, which is unconventional doctorates. We focus on entrepreneurship. So maybe there are people who don't want to have an academic path, but they have this amazing long-term idea that they want to develop. And also leadership, your personal directed leadership, but also leaders of organizations who really want to instill innovation and new thinking in others. So that's a little bit about what we do. The book is out, and you can see the QR code there. And as I said, we're going to have downloadable versions of the templates, which will be available as a resource on Routledge very, very soon. And we're going to be setting up a Getting Things Done program and a doctoral mastermind group. So you are very welcome to join us on those. So thank you for your time, and I hope to see you next month. Actually, in August, we're going to be focusing on working and completing a doctorate for those of you who have full-time jobs or full-time responsibilities in other areas, and who also are looking to start or complete a doctoral program. So thank you for your time. Have a wonderful weekend. And you can contact me either through the link on Eventbrite, or you can also contact me at Sinead Hewson at unconventionalinnovators.com. Take care.